Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're so glad to have you today. We are thrilled to be here at the annual conference, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed the networking that you guys just attended. I know there's a couple hundred people in here, so I hope that you were able to make some great connections. I would like to just recognize one of our sponsors. We have Prolacta Bioscience, who we've been partnering with for a couple of years now. They have been very influential in our seed program, making donations and grants for that. And I'm just going to have this Postpartum Support International provides awareness, prevention, and treatment of perinatal mental health issues. Oh, wrong one. Pause. Please visit our expo area where we have Prolacta Bioscience, and you can find out more information. And they also have an educational video as well that you can read about. Right now, I want to introduce Stephanie Ward. I'm not supposed to have favorites, but she's definitely one of them. And we have had her on a couple other of our webinars in the past, and she was also at our conference last year. So a little bit about her. Stephanie Ward is a BASW CEIM certified parent educator and business owner. She has extensive experience working with underserved and diverse populations as a parent educator, Learn Eligibility Worker, certified infant massage instructor, and home visitor. She's the founder of Stand Tall Parenting and provides families with development, parent education, and infant massage classes, and offers professional development training to social service professionals. Stephanie's presentation will address the importance of establishing an early, secure attachment, especially in premature infants with foster families. After discussing the challenges that foster parents face, suggestions for additional training for foster care agencies will be made. Nurturing touch through infant massage or kangaroo care is recommended through current research and could be a beneficial research for foster parents. So welcome. And I'll let you take it away from here.
Thank you, Ashley, for the warm introduction. I am delighted to have all of you join me today while I share with you the healing power of nurturing touch for foster parents and premature babies. As Ashley mentioned, I am the owner and founder of Stand Tall Parenting, and my mission is to provide evidence-based education for families to decrease parenting stress, establish healthy parenting strategies, and to provide a space for ongoing support. And these are the services I offer. I want to highlight our new group, Giraffe Dads. So this group is specifically created to address the needs expressed by fathers who are seeking connection and support. So foster parents are also known as resource parents. So I'm going to interchangeably use foster parents and resource parents throughout the presentation. So I'm going to share some insight on the challenges foster parents and premature babies experience, addressing the needs of resource parents and babies, current data to demonstrate how premature babies and resource parents can benefit from nurturing touch, and how foster care agencies can provide ongoing support. And I'll be sharing a video that I produced, and there'll be some Q&A at the end of the presentation. So I would like for us to answer these two poll questions, true or false. 1 in 10 babies in the United States are born prematurely. And I would like for you to list some possible challenges foster parents may encounter. So I'll be answering these questions throughout the presentation. So now I'm going to be sharing with you this incredible video. I had the honor to interview these extraordinary foster parents, and this experience has deeply touched my heart, widened my lens on the importance of encouraging nurturing touch and highlighting the significance to support foster parents so they can thrive.
My name is Fawad Shaikh, and I've been a foster parent for, I believe, 5 years. When I grew up, there was a foster home not too far away, just down the street. Probably maybe that was the initial spark. Social worker called us and said, you have 15 minutes to decide whether or not you want to have a new baby. This was stuff we did during COVID when all the kids were in the house. My wife went to the hospital to spend the night with him. He was born a little bit premature. And because it was a safe surrender baby, we knew it would be potentially permanent. like a whirlwind day.
My name is Renee.
My name is Rosa, and we've been foster parents for 3 years.
And we've been adopted for 7 years.
We had been married for several years at that time, and we were having trouble having children, but then we heard about foster to adopt. We got certified. So that's the boys at SeaWorld, one of our many trips that we've done. And then the very next day, we get a phone call. We went from having 0 kids to having 2 immediately. And we had only planned for 1.
My name's Rosalind Grushkin. I go by Roz.
This was my first little guy.
I started fostering 17 years ago. I was working as a social worker at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and I've always been drawn to babies.
Little puppy, hi.
And one of the nurses was in the process of adopting, and she asked me if I ever thought about being a pre-adoptive parent. I've never even heard of it. I fostered 86 babies.
Baby's going to be placed with them in 24 hours. A lot of the parents are like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I need?
Do we have enough clothes and blankets and diapers and pacifier straps? Or we need this, or we need burp cloths, or not much sleep as well.
I talk to those parents on the phone. I say, get a pen and paper. I'm going to give you a list.
Some of the preemies, because of their size, they can only eat small quantities. Normal newborn would take certainly 2 ounces at a time. If you have a preemie that's taking a quarter or a half ounce at a time, you're feeding them that much more frequently. It's nothing that's, overwhelming, other than the fact that you're not going to get a whole lot of sleep.
Or sometimes you're reading their file and you're like, wow, I had no idea, right? A lot of the times they don't give you all the information.
It is hard, especially for our other 2 kids. Every time the foster kids leave, they cry a lot. They're really sad.
You look for a support group, but you don't really know of what kind of support group because there's so many different phases that you're going through that just a regular parent is not going through.
This one was like the week that they came to us. Aww.
Your child may go home, and you have to kind of mentally prepare for that.
It's difficult, especially, one of them was with us for a year, another one was with us for 7 months. You do grow an attachment to them, and they do to you as well.
I would have benefited from infant massage trainings, mommy and me bonding classes, because you go through trainings skin to skin, but we didn't have that.
There wasn't a whole lot of support during the process of applying to become a foster parent.
I just heard from this little guy's mom. He's now 15 years old.
I never met another foster parent, and the questions were just endless. The paperwork was endless.
No, they don't give you a therapist. So that may have been helpful, actually. They don't provide therapy.
Everything you do can be nurturing touch for a baby.
I had this little guy, and his sister was in another foster home.
In fact, I leave the newborn clothed, and I just hold their head under the warm water, and I massage their head while they're having a shampoo. They love it.
This is like a project my wife did with the kids. A project that gave my hand, gave it to Muhammad. Infant massage gave me an intentional time specifically for bonding. He might slow down being with the squirminess and I think he likes this one. He's letting me do this a little bit more. Others, he'd just be off, running away. I definitely got an idea of certain massage techniques that he enjoyed more than others, especially on his back and his thighs he liked. And the feet, he liked the feet. I think he made him laugh, but he liked it.
I got a call about a micro preemie. She had been born under 2 pounds at 6 months of age, and they were just waiting for her to grow in the NICU. And she had already learned the difference between held and not held, and she definitely liked being held. Obviously, if I'm at the hospital, I can't lay on the couch with the child, which is my favorite thing to do.
I was obsessed with baby blankets.
But they had rocking chairs, and I would just put the child over my shoulder and just sit quietly with them. Like I do when I'm home, I would focus on just slowing my breathing down so that they're just next to me, just feeling me being calm.
We're going to be able to adopt him, hopefully. It's been over a year now. We're hoping sometime this summer.
I'm loving this. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional because it's so beautiful.
just hearing them call me mom and, telling me how much they love me, it made everything that we went through in those 3 years worth it. It taught us a lot. I enjoy every moment of it.
Sweet girl.
I brought the puppy to the vet, and one of the staff said, "Are you still fostering babies?" And I said, "No, I just retired from it." She said, "Oh, I always looked forward to you coming in because you'd not only have the dog with you, but you'd be carrying a foster baby as well." It made me feel really good to be doing this. I did it initially for selfish reasons. I couldn't have my own children, and I feel completely fulfilled.
Look how tiny and brown my hair was. What? Whoa.
My life has gone exactly the way it was supposed to go.
So you can continue to reflect on the video as I move through the next slides. We do have an extended cut to dive deeper into the discussions because there was a lot of rich information that the foster parents shared. So now I'm going to answer the first poll question. The correct answer is true. In the United States, 1 in 10 babies are born before the gestational age, which is anytime before 37 weeks. So as you look over this map, I want you to find the state that you reside in and to reference the legend that you see on the bottom. I reside in California, so it looks like we're in the B range. And as you notice that Vermont is the only state that has a low preterm birth rate, and that's because of low population and less cesarean sections. There's also many factors as to why premature babies are significant in the US. As you see, we have a grade of D+. So I'm just going to highlight a few contributors. One is changes in policy to eliminate racial disparities in healthy outcomes for both mom and baby, increases access to doula services for everyone, and provide affordable and quality health insurance. So now I'm going to go over the challenges that foster parents and premature babies experience. And we're going to first focus on premature babies. So being in the NICU, babies are not receiving as much interaction due to the shortage of nurses, inconsistent information as to when to see the foster parent or when to see the baby. So some workers focus on the monetary compensation by telling foster parents that they're not able to visit the baby in the NICU. However, they are able to see the baby in the NICU, it's just they won't receive payment. They receive payment after the baby is released from the hospital and in the foster care home. But what the parent and the baby are receiving when they're visited in the NICU is that bonding, that experience. Also, feeling overwhelmed and uncertain by their environment. That comes with either being in the NICU or with the resource parents in the home. Also possibly grieving either temporarily or permanently due to the loss of their biological parents. So infants have been in their biological woman's womb and having to be instantly removed from the mother and given to someone else can create sadness. So the baby may not be reunified back with the biological parents. And biological parents are actually able to visit the baby in the NICU if the court gives them visitation rights. Also experiencing withdrawals and have a challenge being soothed by touch and sound. So babies who have been drug exposed, and when I say drug exposed, I'm referring to mothers using substances during pregnancy, are going to have challenges with learning how to be soothed without the use of substances in their system. So they're going to experience that withdrawal. Also hindering the development of establishing a secure attachment. So during this time, babies are learning to either trust or mistrust their environment through the interactions the caregiver provides. So as I mentioned earlier, they may not receive that consistent support when they're in the NICU. So some foster care agencies may influence the resource parent to not get attached, to avoid grief and getting too close, for either being reunified back to the biological parent or permanently adopted by another family. which was shared with some of the foster parents that I interviewed, as well as my overall research. Also, infants might possibly, experiencing sensitivity to touch and sound, cognitive distress or delays, distress, low birth weight, retinopathy. So that is an eye disease that can happen either being born prematurely or weighing less than 3 pounds. So now I'm going to go over the challenges that foster parents may experience. So these can be woven in with each other, and a foster parent may not experience some of these situations. So I'm just sharing with you data that I received through my interviews and research. And this actually answers the last poll question. So higher stress levels, as some of you saw in the video, immediately transitioning from having no children to having children with Rosa and Renee. Also lack of resources. So mental health has been coming up a lot, whether that is one-on-one mental health services or support groups that Renee shared that he would have wanted to attend. Also, sleep deprivation, so the baby waking up multiple times during the night. And Roz was mentioning that she was caring for a micro baby and they needed that frequent feeding. Also, lack of connection with others. So during my interview, Renee shared that he had a great social connection with his family and friends, and that suddenly changed when he became a foster parent of 2 children at the same time. Also, managing ambivalent emotions, like what all parents experience when they welcome a new baby. They're excited and they're also concerned. So when it comes to resource parents, a primary barrier to attachment is a possibility that the baby will leave. So foster parents may either anticipate the grief so they can protect themselves to maintain that emotional distance to minimize the pain. And quite the opposite, some may not even know that they're experiencing grief or may not accept that that's what they are experiencing, which is why foster parents would have wanted to receive mental health services. Lack of resources for foster care agencies. So some agencies have a one-size-fits-all approach. So Roz mentioned how she fostered 86 babies, which is incredible. She only fostered babies. However, the agency wanted her, in order to continue fostering, she had to have books for teens. So we really need to look out how we can support resource parents at that time. Insufficient items for the baby. So Fawad mentioned he had 15 minutes to make a decision to care for a safe surrender baby. So going through the stress of, oh gosh, where am I going to get some diapers, some clothing and blankets? Managing that transition, so that immediate transition from having to care for another child and their new role as a caregiver. So Fawad already had 2 other children of his own, so transitioning to a third child, especially a baby, definitely can heighten that stress as well. And also we have to look at the transition of grief when the baby is reunified with the family or adopted. And also changes in social connection, that could be part of the grieving process as well. Experiencing discrimination. So the LGBTQ plus community has increased their willingness to foster and adopt children. However, some foster care agencies may either hinder the individual from wanting to be a resource parent. And if they do accept, from my research, the preference is of a white lesbian couple is more accepting than a gay or transgender people of color. So also I found in my research that agencies wanted the LGBTQ plus community to take on more of the heterosexual roles. So proper education is needed to decrease and get rid of these situations and discriminations from happening. And Roz mentioned that she had to go through various agencies that can be accepting of all, and she found one that works for her and her needs. So now we're going to go into addressing the needs of resource parents and babies. So we're going to go over the resource parents' needs, so that ongoing support during the foster time period and after the baby reunifies back with the biological parent or permanently adopted. So during my interviews, the foster parents shared they kind of felt disconnected with the worker due to multiple visits, lack of resources, inconsistent information, and kind of the sense of invasion piece. So Roz was mentioning, we need to have more common sense practices. So she had to have the teen books in her home, but she wasn't fostering teens. Also, therapy services. So I know that resource parents receive monetary compensation for the baby, but we need to think about how we can provide the resource parent with support groups or therapy 101. Also, consistent information from foster care agencies and social workers. As I mentioned before, the monetary compensation, I think when you're a worker, you're focused on that, but we really need to focus on letting everyone know that, yes, they can visit the baby in the NICU. And proper educational resources. So how to bond with your baby. Rosa mentioned that she didn't know that she can do skin to skin. She didn't know that she can, massage the baby as well, and would have benefit from learning that information. And also ongoing parent education. So as the baby grows, needs change. So having that proper educational is so important. For premature babies, we want that consistent nurturing touch, and I'll be sharing more on what that looks like. Also maintaining proximity, so they want to feel safe and secure with the caregiver. Also respond appropriately to cues, so babies just want to be understood. So crying might be triggering to some due to unaddressed trauma. So we want to help resource parents reframe crying and look at crying as a form of communication. So avoid hushing the baby, but instead really listen and find out their different cries. If their emotional needs are suppressed, they will experience frequent dysregulation. And so the takeaway is that babies want to feel safe and secure in their environment. So I'm going to go into my favorite part, which is the healing power of nurturing touch. And there are many ways, various ways that you can provide consistent nurturing touch. And the goal is to be consistent, to help the baby move through their traumatic experience of being away from their biological parents and creating new connections to feel safe, loved, and secure. And one being infant massage, it assists the foster parent to understand how to read the baby's cues through the massage strokes. The benefits are amazing. So various studies have showed that massages boost the immune system and increases weight gain, decreases stress for the entire family due to oxytocin being released, which is that love hormone, less tension in the body, and promotes better sleep routine. So Fawad mentioned that it gave him that intentional time for bonding, and it helped him read his baby's cues. So Fawad was with me last year early on when he first was fostering his baby. And he said he still uses the strokes, and how he mentioned, loved his back massage, his thighs, and loved the feet. And he also was able to recognize other strokes. He's like, oh, he would just, crawl and walk away. Kangaroo care, also skin to skin, is a wonderful strategy to provide nurturing touch by holding the baby on your chest, skin to skin, to decrease stress, regulate blood circulation, breathing, and promote overall growth. Also, resting hands is a great place to start. So just placing the hands on your baby. And this is actually part of the infant massage practice, that you rest the hands on the part that you're going to massage, kind of having that beginning piece to when you get a massage done. Also, still touch containment. So think of it as like hand swaddling or hand hug. holding the baby during bath time. So Roz was mentioning that she would hold her baby and, put the soap on the baby, rub the baby, make that intentional connection through her facial expressions as well. Also hugs to provide a sense of safety. So think about how you feel when you receive a hug. And she said that, during the video, babies know when they like to be held. She knew the difference between held and not held. And that's with her reading the cues through the nurturing touch. Also diaper changing, putting on clothes. So these are all wonderful ways to provide consistent nurturing touch. So how we can support foster parents: provide mental health services, free mental health services for foster parents, whether that is support groups or individual therapy. I connected with various foster agencies, and I would ask them, do you have support groups for them? And they would have support groups, but it was only for their foster parents, not other foster parents. And that can be really challenging if an agency doesn't have the funding to offer that. So we need to have funding for agencies to offer free services as well. And when I did call DCFS, they were saying they do offer mental health services just for a dyad, for the baby and the, actually for an older child and the parent, but not for the resource parents. So we need to take better care of our resource parents because they're doing beautiful work for our communities and for our children. Also, a ready-to-go bag with baby's necessities. So Fawad shared that he had 15 minutes to get all of these items, and he needed these items in order to have the baby in his care. So thankfully, he was able to receive the items, but he shared during the interviews that he would have wanted the worker to have like a ready-to-go bag with all of the baby's necessities, just to hold them over until they receive the payment to buy more supplies. Also, consistent information. As I mentioned before, we need to encourage information, bonding information across the board when it comes to visiting the baby in the NICU. Roz mentioned that she would go to the NICU and she didn't care about the monetary compensation. She was there to bond with the baby. If the bio parents were there, she was there to make a connection with the baby in hopes that they would reunify back. So we need to have consistent information across the board, educating our resource parents that yes, they can go to the NICU, and not focus on the monetary piece. Streamlining paperwork and application. That was something that all of the parents shared with me, and in the research that the paperwork was duplicate, right? So they would have to fill out this stack and they would fill out a second stack that was the same information. So Roz was sharing the paperwork was endless, the bureaucracy, trying to get this process going. So we need to have a system in place to encourage foster parents and not discourage foster parents with all of this information and all of this application and paperwork. So here are some resources that I found. So as I mentioned, I'm in California, and Extraordinary Families, I was able to connect with them. They're a foster care agency in LA, and they actually connected me to Roz, so that's how I was able to meet her. And the director has been really excited. She even supports me when I work with foster parents on, how to advocate for resources like baby massage and so forth. So if you're looking for resources in your area, feel free to reach out to me. I am always willing to find those resources for you. So again, I want to thank you all for being with me today. I had an amazing time with all of you. This is my contact information. Feel free to follow me on my social media. As I mentioned before, I do have my extended cut. It is on my homepage. So if you go to standtallparenting.com and scroll, it's the first video that you will see. So feel free to ask any questions or share any comments with me at this time.
So it looks like Martha said Skin to Skin worked well with a home visit with a special need child. And some other people have shared some stories. So I'm just going to pop those up there and we can just read them real quick.
Okay, let me just take down the video or the
Yeah, thank you so much, Stephanie. It was so impactful. And I know that you put a lot of energy into the video, and it's moving, right? To hear their stories, to kind of see where the foster families are coming from and how we can help support them. So Helen said those 4 foster parents gave Austin sentiments relevant to hear their words. Daisy says, lovely, so powerful. Lori says, foster parents often do not receive the support they need in caring for children who have experienced trauma, including premature or difficult birth. Another person says, this was great, thank you. Okay, so that's kind of a little bit about the stories. I would love to see if people have questions. Stephanie is quite an expert, so feel free to ask away.
Yes, thank you everyone for your comments as well. So hopefully that will inspire you to advocate in your area on providing some resources for foster parents. Hi, Dan. So you have a question on the little more details about the Giraffe Dads. So we meet on the 3rd Sunday of every month from 11:30 to 12:30. So this month, because the 18th is on Father's Day, we're going to do it on the 11th. And so what we do is we have either a guest come in, we talk about like a parenting topic. Last month we talked about anger and how we express anger. And just giving some reflective questions. I'm all about reflective questions to give fathers space to, to sit back and to think and be more intentional. And then I provide some resources and opportunities for dads to connect. So we meet for an hour, and it's definitely expanding. And yeah, I'm just really excited. It's a free group. So you can go onto my website if you know someone that is interested. So thank you, Dan. Let me know if you have any additional questions. And it is virtual. If anyone thinking about me being in California, it is a virtual platform. So anyone can attend. That's what's so great about being virtual. Thank you for sharing. I'm glad that you were able to have that skin-to-skin touch experience with the baby. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I want to share the importance of foster parents. Yes. And hospitals are willing. I connected with hospitals. They are open to it. As you know, that we are out of that intense COVID phase, so we're more in person. So I think that's great. Looks like there's a question. Is there a way to advocate to teach other foster families infant massage? I would definitely connect with foster care agencies, contacting DCFS, connecting with other nonprofit agencies is great too, to kind of get that information out there. How have you attempted to get the support of the courts when the baby is taken from the home? So how have you attempted to get the support of the courts? Meaning having them take baby massage, Michael? Can you elaborate, please?
Okay, while he elaborates, I'm going to pop another question on.
Okay. How do you connect with foster families? Are you providing your services via agency? Yes. So I've always had foster parents. So just to give you some background, so I also teach parenting classes. That's the services that you see. And it is DCFS. It's a 10-week series, 20 hours. It's DCFS approved. So I do have foster parents in my class. And I think just from the positive feedback that they've given to their worker, to DCFS, to the courts, I think that just really has grown to really build that rapport with the worker as well, because I am offering this month, because it is Father's Day, a free baby bonding with dad through Infant Massage. So we meet every Sunday from 10 to 11 Pacific Standard Time. So if you know someone that's interested, or if you want to join and you're a dad and you have a baby, I still have space available, so you can definitely reach out to me so we can get you signed up. But yeah, I think it just took a few years to kind of garner that, can't think of the word, but that rapport of working with other agencies as well. So I think it's just being really consistent and just really open. I think that's important.
Definitely. Michael said yes. He said foster are not legal guardians. They are given care and custody. Is the court aware of the value of what you are advocating for?
You know what? They are not.
I was like, I don't think they are.
No, they are not. So thank you, Michael, for elaborating. And that's why this was so important for me. And really doing this, doing the interviews and connecting with various folks, we really need more changes in policy. We really need to focus on that human approach, that bond. That this is a baby, a premature baby that we are caring for, and it's all the logistical stuff and all the bureaucracy and the endless paperwork, right? The endless paperwork. So we need to advocate within our own states and being really consistent. So I'm hoping that in sharing this, that that will start the dialogue on how we can make this aware for everyone, and educating foster parents that they can massage the baby. And I think that with Rose and Renee, they're in Palmdale. So there was a situation that happened with DCFS. So they felt, they felt just kind of insecure about massaging the baby or just even just touching the baby, because there was a whole legal situation that happened. So I think the fear is there, but that's when the worker come in, right? And to provide that support as well.
So another person said, since I was a massage therapist before I had a baby and massaged her when she came home from the NICU, even when I was a CEIM, I thought about connecting with foster care agencies in town and asking if they were interested in me volunteering a free class. Your thoughts? I also volunteer infant massage for the Prepares group at my church. I continue to be interested in volunteering my services in different venues. So she wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Yes, and thinking about your time as well. So volunteering is great as like a starting point too, but also thinking about what is your overall goal. Like, do you want to, are you trying to create a business out of it, or are you just trying to do this as like a volunteering opportunity? So kind of thinking about what your goal is. Because as you know, everything is expensive. I'll put it out there, right? It's our time, right? It's our time. So valuing that time for yourself and maybe charging like a fee, or even just working with an agency and collaborating with them to offer the class as well.
And then Paula says, how do you handle the financial end, like we were just talking about? I would love to do this, but financially, I need to work. I hate money as a focus, but it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you, Paula, for your question. I think in the beginning, it was really hard for me. This was years ago. It was hard. I think I was only charging so low amount that I wasn't getting any money out of it. So really take into account just everything, how much everything costs, supplies, your time, education, and come up with a number that works for you. And when you do share that your fee, really being confident about it too, and building that rapport. They're also investing in you, and it's funny because we had a whole marketing thing, right, Ashley, on this. So And don't, if someone tells you that's too much, because I think that was a huge thing for me, I can say, that's okay. You know, when you are ready, you can come back because I'm always available.
Definitely.
And they will try to find someone, but they always come back. And I know this based on experience, that they will come back and say, oh, I didn't get the support I needed, or, oh, I didn't get this. So really think about what you bring to the table. And I'm sure you probably bring a lot to the table as well. And just being really confident about your price and consistent. You can also offer like early bird specials as well. So I hope I answered your question. I'm sorry. I could get in a tangent of things.
Martha says, I'm in New Jersey, Somerset, Franklin Township area. Do you have any information about foster parent? So
I'm assuming resources. Yeah. So let me write this down. So feel free to send me an email. I'm not sure if you have her email or if you want to send it to me.
Yeah, I'll send it to your. We could put your email in the chat, and then they could have it. What's your email, Stephanie?
Stephanie Ward.
Oh, Steph, okay.
At stantallparenting.com.
Should have it memorized by now.
It's okay. Let's see. So has a question. I already have a business and teach breast massage classes, etc. But I keep being drawn to low income or foster groups. So I thought I would ask your thoughts as I process what I want to do with the massage. So you can connect with Facebook groups, you know, posting if you have a social media presence as well. And really think about like who your customer is, and really like go down. And we have a video, and I think it's up, right, Ashley, that you can kind of share to what we have with Nick and everything. That
yes, that should be in the membership portal by Sensational Baby, and about how to use not only Sensational Baby but the marketing aspect of it as well. So this is a question from Kimberly. Do you see pushback from the nurses? I used to work in NICU, and even as an employee that held babies, I got pushback and was told it was overstimulating for the baby.
And I'm so sorry that was your experience. You know, there's going to be some people who are trying to put their own agenda, unfortunately. And so it's just for us just educating nurses, like maybe doing like a workshop, or I mean, me just doing this conference, I just called people. Just call and say, hey, you know, I'm just going to call and see what happens, you know. And I think that you know, for the most part, everyone is on board, but I think there needs to be more education out there about the importance of nurturing touch. And I think that, as I mentioned in my presentation, that crying can be triggering to some people because of unaddressed trauma. And so same thing with touch. Maybe that's something that subconsciously that she's or he, you know, maybe are triggered by, you know, kind of just thinking about if someone isn't ready to have that dialogue. I always like to use like an email or just like a letter, and just letting them know, here's like a brochure, I should say, not a letter, but a brochure, you know, giving them some information is so important.
Definitely. And I think that if education, like you talked about, is key, and looking for the cues from the baby, right? And maybe if we can educate them on that. Okay, so Michael is just giving information, saying folks might want to look at the MAT assessors. This group does an evaluation of high-risk babies. MAT is exclusive to Southern California, but you can look at it as a model.
Yes, and with MAT, actually, because I spoke to a MAT assessor, and they were saying that they are seeing that baby massage has been extremely helpful. So what they do is that they get it funded through Medi-Cal, but they have to rephrase it in another way. They can't say baby massage, because what's interesting is that Medi-Cal, they cover lactation consultants, some doulas. I know some doulas, they feel like they're not being fully compensated, but that's a whole nother another. I always get
issue.
but it's about wording, and the woman, the director I spoke to at Extraordinary Family, she's like, I am going to try. So we're working on how we can get folks to use their Medi-Cal or in their health insurance. But it's all about wording, like she said. It's all about wording. I forgot what she said to name it, but we can't call it baby massage because people still think that it's like this, spa day, and we really need to educate folks that it's not just, a fad or a spa day. There's so many more benefits, as I shared earlier.
Okay, anyone else? Any last minute questions? Okay, thank you, Stephanie, so much. I really appreciate you coming and sharing your expertise. We always love having you. After this is going to be an option for a stroke review in the sessions, or you can come back onto stage and hear Justine talk as well. So those are your couple of options you have. We hope that you guys are really enjoying the conference and getting the most out of it. And we're so thankful for our attendees and coming, and especially for our amazing speakers like Stephanie. So thank you, everyone. See you in a bit.
Have a good day, everybody.